Welcome to the family and friends of Mildred Young. We are here today not to mourn the passing of Mildred, but to celebrate her life. A life spent close to the earth, with the sun warm on her back and the ache of a good hard day's work to put her to sleep at night. Mildred's life revolved around her family. Growing up on a farm most of her life, she was always a hard worker for her husband and children. The one who kept it all together, and one of the reasons her children grew up into fine young men and women with high standards, loyalty, and dedication to all they know. Her life spent so close with her friends gave them a wealth of knowledge and understanding, which has become her legacy to her grandchildren, who will one day pass these on to their children and beyond. Although today is a time for expressing our sorrow at her sudden death, more importantly, it is a time to celebrate her life and the special memories we shared with her. Each of you had a special part to play in Mildred's life, in different and very special ways. As a mother-in-law, a sister, grandmother, great-grandmother, and friend. Her spirit and her life are a part of your spirit and life. And although we mourn her loss today, there is something that remains. Mildred's influence has not ended with her physical death. Her warmth, her love, and values were given out and shared around, and they have become a part living with you. If she could, I'm sure she would have this one last piece of advice to share with each of you. She would want you to be kind to others and not take each other for granted, and to work hard in this world. Mildred would want us all to be celebrating and dancing, and focusing on the fantastic memories that you made with her. She would want the closing of her chapter in the world to open new and wonderful possibilities for you. Mildred was always a risk taker, and would want nothing else for you to live your lives to its fullest potential. Mildred would not want your hearts to be burdened with this grief. She would want you to fill the empty space left by her passing with the presence of her love. She would not want you to remember her in sadness, but rather in love, perhaps with a smile and with a thought for all the good and happy moments in her life. In spirit and in our hearts, Mildred will live on. Through our memories and experiences, we will still learn and be inspired from her. It is worth remembering that sadness comes out of caring and out of love, and that all human love ends in sadness. But sadness then is a measure of love, and therefore it's in a way a kind of privilege. Let's reflect on the life of Mildred through a eulogy prepared by her daughter Jessica. But before we do this, Jessica has chosen a poem she would like me to read on her behalf. Speak of me as you have always done. Remember the good times, laughter and fun. Share the happy memories we've made. Do not let them wither or fade. I'll be with you in the summer's sun, and when the winter's chill has come. I'll be the voice that whispers in the breeze. I'm peaceful now. Put your mind at ease. I've rested my eyes and I've gone to sleep. But memories we've shared are yours to keep. Sometimes our final days may be a test. But remember me when I was at my best. Although things may not be the same, don't be afraid to ever use my name. Let your sorrow last for just a little while. Comfort each other and try to smile. I've lived a life filled with joy and fun. Live on now. Make me proud of what you'll become. And this is Jessica's reflection and eulogy of Mildred's life. Mildred Young was born 1st of January 1912, the happiest start to a new year. Attending school in Murray Bridge, she finished her education work to work the Lamoureux farm with her mum and dad and her 3 brothers and sisters. Farming was her life, with music her passion. She would continue to study piano at the conservatorium for many years. It was the start of 8th grade when Mildred met her high school sweetheart and future husband, Steve. He lived on a farm in Mallinong and had always wanted nothing more than to meet a hard-working young lady to spend the afternoons on the farm with. It didn't take many hay bales to be moved before they were head over heels with each other. By the time Mildred was 22, she had given Steve 2 beautiful boys, Ben and Sam. Jessica would eventually be the last child born 3 years later. And today, a strong lineup of 10 grandchildren have followed, and Granny could only hope that they know how much that they are loved. Life was not always so easy for Mildred. Working the land is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job, with the whole family expected to pitch in and help. Not only did she have 3 children and a husband to care for, but crops to plant, books to be kept up to date, and a puppy to raise. Tasks she took in her stride and accomplished without any fuss. Ben, Sam, and myself remember a woman who was a good mother, hardworking, kind, one who treated their children equally and offered them a very stable home. She taught them early in their years about respect and the true value of life. The boys tell me that Mildred and Steve were a perfect match, soulmates, who spent a lifetime moulding their lives of the children into the fine adults you will know today. I got the feeling, though, that perhaps the boys were a little afraid of their mother and that their father had shared this fear. I believe they called it the stare. When someone was up to no good, Mildred had a way of creating an atmosphere that you could cut with a knife, with just one single look. When you received the stare, you knew you needed to pull your head in instantly. It was easier to give in than to argue, Steve would have said. Mildred kept tight control of those she loved, and those she loved benefited from it. The young clan stayed on the farm for 50 years until Steve took a turn for the worse with his lung cancer. Unable to work on the farm alone, Mildred's children and grandchildren came out to help until the farm was sold. Steve passed away very quickly 10 years ago from his illness, leaving Mildred heartbroken. The next 10 years were tough, losing all of her siblings that she was very close to. However, she moved into a retirement village back in the city of Adelaide, where all of her children and grandchildren were. She started numerous community projects with her new friends at the village and volunteered countless hours for people less fortunate than herself. Mildred's friendships with her new retired buddies would be what made the last 10 years of her life hold together and so much fun. She always spoke wonders of her new friends. Her highlights had to be the cruise that they took around the south coast of Australia to Sydney. The stories were endless and the smiles were great. It was only 2 months ago that Mildred was diagnosed with cancer. Her tough spirit kept her positive and she took every day without complaining. However, the battle couldn't continue as Mildred passed away on the 22nd of March in hospital. Thank you, Jessica, for taking the time to prepare that eulogy and the special moment of reflecting on Mildred's life. Today marks a new chapter in history, and although Mildred is not physically here, her legacy from all her work in life will continue, which remain in the hearts and the memories of those who knew her through her life. Along with our sadness, we must show gratitude. Be glad that she is not suffering and that she is at peace. Glad for the joys that she had and for the fullness of her life. Be glad for knowing her and for the things she gave and the things that she taught. I will now give a reading chosen by her sons Ben and Sam. When I am gone, release me, let me go. I have so many things to see and do. You must not tie yourself to me with tears. Be happy that we had so many years. I gave you my love. You can only guess how much you gave me in happiness. I thank you for the love you each have shown. But now it is time that I've travelled alone. So grieve a while for me. If grieve you must, then let your grief be comforted by trust. It is only for a while that we must part. So bless the memories within your heart. I will not be far away, for life will go on. So if you need me, call, and I will come. Though you cannot see or touch me, I will be near. And if you listen with your heart, you will hear all of my love around you soft and clear. Then when you must come this way alone, I will greet you with a smile and a welcome home. There are often times when we wish for just a moment that we could step back in time and say those things that we never got around to saying. Always thinking that we can do it tomorrow. And this is your chance to tell Mildred what's in your heart. We'll take a minute's silence to reflect and to tell Mildred what we want her to hear. Our time of reflection is one where we can remember our happy thoughts of Mildred as we listen to her favourite music. I invite you now to sit back, close your eyes, and take a moment to reflect on Mildred's impact on your life. While we listen to one of her favourites, I Will Wait for You. It was evident that Mildred had a faith in God, and particularly one she shared strongly with her friends at the retirement village. It would be nice if we could share the Lord's Prayer together now. Would you join with me? Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come and your will be done, on earth as in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For the kingdom and the power and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. This concludes the ceremony today to remember and celebrate the life and memories of Mildred. In a moment, the pallbearers will come forward to carry the casket to the front of the chapel, where it will be placed on its stand. We would then like to invite family and friends to come forwards, first to say a personal goodbye to Mildred by collecting a flower out of the basket at the front and placing it on the casket. Once the family have had time to do this, everyone in attendance are invited to do the same. At the conclusion of this, the casket will be transported in the hearse to the cemetery where a private burial will take place. On behalf of Mildred's family, I would like to thank you for attending today and invite you to stay at the chapel afterwards for a light afternoon tea.